Right then, hello everyone. God, my throat. Well, I'm going to continue. Well, this is a new video. This is, if you haven't noticed, I am British. I grew up here. Um, my dad is British. I went to school here as well, and my accent is also British. This will tell me exactly what my dialect is. So it will ask me a bunch of questions, that kind of thing. Ask me how I pronounce full and full, and that kind of thing. There's also an American one. I might do that later just to see what my American accent is, because I'm very American. It's pretty good. Well, anyway, yeah, I'll start. You probably don't know exactly where in the UK I'm from. I've probably mentioned it before, maybe in my DNA video, or maybe in the GeoGuessr one in the UK, but I'm not sure. Either way, I'm going to continue with this. So, to start, full and full, they do not sound the same. And almost everyone agrees, except for in Scotland and Northern Ireland, and also a little bit around London kind of area as well for some reason. Weird. I don't know. Didn't think they. Also a tiny bit around Bristol, just south of Bristol as well. I don't know. Which of these words, if any, would you use for a young person characterised by brash, loutish behaviour and often low social status? I would call them a chav, and that's it. Out of all of these, I don't call them charva, or townie, or ned, or scanger, or garrier, or anything like that. Hello. Okay. I thought the webcam had frozen. I was gonna get angry because this webcam isn't a webcam. It's built into the laptop and it's terrible. It hardly works. It turns the screen really green sometimes. You've probably noticed it before, and most of the time it doesn't work at all. So often I have to just not do a video on a particular day because it just doesn't want to work. But it's free and webcams cost money. I have a decent microphone, even though you might not believe that by the background sound, but that's just because the laptop is very loud, always. If I had this microphone far away, it's a very good microphone. But this laptop is very loud. I mean, it's probably not that loud right now. It was a lot louder when I was doing the DNA video because I had things going on in the background for some reason. What I can do is I can cover it up and then put on this fan that I have, because this fan cools it down, because when it's covered you don't hear the fan as much, but then it starts to heat up more, so the fan gets louder and this, that and the other. I should probably stop talking and get back to the video. So I use this fan anyway. Right, next. That's pretty common as well. It's all over. I'm not going to say in this video where exactly I'm from. You can just kind of see from around here. And okay, maybe I should just say it. Maybe it'll be more interesting. I was going to say it at the end, but I'll say where I am now. I grew up around here, Gloucestershire, which is in some of the darkest, most common areas here. Calling it a chav. I'm pretty sure everyone in England and Wales seems to call it a chav anyway. How do I pronounce scone? Rhymes with bon. It doesn't rhyme with bon. It doesn't rhyme. It does rhyme with bon, but it doesn't rhyme with bone. It does rhyme with gone. Really? No way. In my area, seems okay. It does seem to be towards the more common, but it's a pretty divided. Jeez. I thought it would be more. I thought everyone called it scone. Everyone I know calls it scone. Well, not anymore, but they used to. People I know now, I live in Wales now, and people don't call it scone. And supposedly they do, but well, this is North Wales. I could live here in South Wales, but still, weird. What do you call a small grey bug that curls into a ball when it's touched? That is a chucky pig. You might not believe that I call it that, but I called it that all through my childhood, and I feel like one of these days I'm gonna stop calling it that, and it's a very sad time, very sad thing to think of, because I don't hear people calling it that anymore. I only called it that as a kid. All my friends as kids also called it that, but all of a sudden we're surrounded by woodlouse. But for me, it's always been the chucky pig is the one that rolls up into a ball. The woodlouse is the one that isn't. That doesn't. Sorry. Anyway, where is it? Chucky pig. Ooh, hello. That's a tiny bit further south than where I live, really. Maybe it's not. Maybe I just think I live further north than I think I do. Than I actually do. I'm pretty sure I live like here, though. Well, I don't live there anymore, but I used to. I grew up around here. Oh, COVID. It's not COVID. Unless it is. I don't think so. I should be fine, though. I'm young. I've had both vaccines. Well, there's a third one now, but I haven't had that yet. But I've had both vaccines. I'm young. I've had COVID before. It's fine. I've had it twice before. And both times I had it, I had already had both the vaccines. Just what I've never had proper COVID symptoms. I just get like a little bit of a cough, runny nose sometimes, that kind of thing. Jig. Door and paw, they rhyme. Fair enough. That's just like South Midlands, and not in South Wales. In South Wales, they call it poor. Something like that. I don't know. Which of these words would you use for a baby? None of them. That's about middling everywhere. Which of these words would you use for a child's soft shoes worn for PE? I would call them pumps. And that's it. I would never call them anything else. You see, but this one makes me think that I do live slightly further north. So I think I live around here. Right on the southern edge of where they call it pumps. Like, in my primary school, they called it them pumps. They said, oh, go put you on your pumps. I don't remember them being called anything else. Really, just pumps. They've always been pumps. Well, if anything, this is definitely proof that I'm from the West. I am from the West, not from Wales or anything like that. Food and good, they don't rhyme. This is just Scotland and Northern Ireland again. Do you call it when a person gets a ride on the back of someone else's bike? Pag, piggyback, carry, pillion, buggy, dubby, seaty, coggy, cog, takey. I have no word for this. Really? Never heard anything about that before. Maybe I do. Maybe people around me have it. I don't know. I've never done it. I've never seen anyone who's done it. I've never heard anyone who's done it. So I wouldn't know. Running water smaller than a river. That's a stream. Yeah, fair enough. Starting to get slightly less common, but it's definitely very common. But and put, they don't rhyme. Of course they don't. There's a tiny group of people in the West Country think they do, but it's not in my part, so it's fine. Which of these words would you use for not showing up for school or work? I would call that skiving off. And that's it. Yeah, there we go. So it's quite focused around here. Well, it's focused in many different spots, but it shows that I'm not from South Wales or London, or this strip for some reason. Or I don't know, is it Ayrshire or something? No, that's Ayrshire. No, what? I don't know. I don't know the counties of Scotland very well. All I know is from researching back on my family, because my dad's side of the my dad's side of the family are all from Scotland, southern Scotland generally, around in Dumfriesshire generally, but over time they have moved further and further south. To the point that now I live here. Like, they left Dumfriesshire about, I don't know, to be honest. I think it was 1800s, and then they went into Cumberland in northern Cumbria, where they stayed there all the way until my great granddad. Then my granddad was born in Lancashire, my dad in Lincolnshire, and myself in Gloucestershire. So we just need to continue going further south. How do I pronounce the A sound in last? A in cat, A in father, no. A in cat, father, no they don't. A in cat. This puts me, it has some correlation to here, but it puts me mostly in the north. Because the thing is that other people from where I'm from don't pronounce father. They pronounce it father. Well, not like that. I'm not very good at it. They pronounce it father. No. Father. Something like that. I'm terrible. How would I refuse? How would I refer to my grandmother? I would call her grandma. Don't know. Apparently that's a northern thing. Don't know. A round piece of baked, I would call that a bun. Really? Really? What else would you call it? I guess you can call it a roll. I've always called it a bun. Which of these words would you use to refer to a friend? Mate, probably. Yeah, nothing else. Yeah, pretty universal across England and North Wales. Apparently in South Wales they like to do something else. And Scotland, Ireland, Northern Ireland's disagreeing a bit with Scotland there. Very controversial. Which of these words was used for someone that's stupid? No. Yeah, sure. I'll put more on an idiot. Okay, it basically says I'm southern. Sure. Farm and palm. They do rhyme. This is gonna have, yeah, look. Well, it's not as universal as I thought it would be. Well, no, it's not surprising at all. Not everyone has the dialect. I don't. Like, people where I'm from are on like a three-way dialect kind of, I would call it, I don't know. There's kind of a continuum, three-way, between West Country, where I would say farm, not farm. It would be farm and palm. That would be how it would be in a West Country accent. Whereas there's also West Midlands and Southern accents. Everyone's on the continuum there somewhere. I would say I'm mostly towards the West Midlands, probably. Like West Midlands, I'd say I have features from all three. Maybe closest to West Midlands and I don't know. This will tell me, apparently. Heavy rainfall, I'd call that chucking it down. I think I probably learnt this from my dad, judging by the range, because my dad was from Lincolnshire, which is here. So it definitely wouldn't surprise me, because I don't think I've heard my mum saying anything like that. Maybe she does now, because of my dad, of course. But my mum's Spanish. She wouldn't have said any of these things. So I feel like I'm gonna get more East Midlands than other people from where I'm from would. Which of these options would you use first? A general word for the outer garment and the lower half of your body, with individual leg parts reaching to the ankle. Trousers. That's it. Yeah, everywhere. Feeling unwell, sick, ill, poorly when I was a child, and that's about it. Okay. My mother, mum, horse and horse, they sound the same. Long piece of cushioned furniture in the main room of a house. I would only call that a sofa. Wouldn't call it anything else. Sure. What's the name of the playground game in which a child chases the rest of anyone who becomes the pursuer? That is tag. I know this is a very dividing one. I mean, there we go, look. Gloucester. Perfect. Although apparently I'm also from Leeds. Gloucester and Bath, that's fine. Bath, that's not surprising. Yeah, look at the tag one. Very specifically around Gloucestershire. I was surprised because Americans call it tag as well, don't they? And I was confused about this, so I asked my dad. And he didn't call it tag growing up. He called it tig. Really? This is something I learned very late on. The Chucky Pig. It's very defining, very defining. Grandma, chav, da da da. Skive is not a very... It just basically means I'm not from London and this part of Scotland. Essentially. Like, it seems to think... I can continue it as long as I type in where I'm actually from. If I type in Gloucester, then I can get more questions. So think about it like this. Right now, it's basically saying I'm from the West Country, or the West Midlands, and perhaps the Central North. But so continuing. Piece of playground equipment where children sit on opposite ends, that's a seesaw. Everyone calls it that. I don't know why they put that question. Which phrase would they be more likely to say? The ball was hers, or the ball was hers? School. Grandfather, I call him granddad. Okay. I mean, that's the most common one where my granddad grew up. So, it's not that surprising. Oops. I almost hit my pop filter. What do you call a frame for hanging clothes to dry inside a house? I call that a drying rack. Apparently no one calls it that. I do. An attractive person, bonny, right, hot, peng, gorgeous, pretty, unreal, stunner, fit. I personally wouldn't use any of these. I wouldn't use anything. I'm not very... No. I would probably say, you are very attractive, or you are very good looking. No, I wouldn't use any of those words. Small piece of wood stuck under your skin. That's a splinter. Yeah, most people agree with me. Apart from in Scotland really doesn't. Not Western Scotland anyway. My ancestors would not be happy saying I called it a splinter. They'd be very unhappy. I mean, my grandma's ancestors would be happy with it, but oof. My granddad's ancestors, oof, they're going to be angry. Which phrase would you more likely to say? We haven't seen them. We've not seen them. No, we haven't seen them. Really? Who says we've not seen them? What do you call a sport in which 2 teams of 11 players? That's called football, mate. Which phrase would you be more likely to say? He did it himself. I'm surprised this isn't more full. More complete. Doll does not sound like doll. Sounds like doll. It does sound like doll. What? Was I not meant to pronounce that doll? Dole? Am I supposed to call that dole? No. It's doll. D-O-L-E. Doll. No? It's just... That's such a small area and it's so far from where I am. That seems really weird to me. Okay, anyway, schedule with SK. Oh, apparently people don't call it that. Apparently I'm Irish. Top of the morning. No. Oh my god, I just did a West Country accent when I was trying to copy Irish. Anyway. Do and due, they do sound different. Yep, that's fine. Feeling cold, chilly, freezing. Yeah. Southern. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Why? This is middle? It's 50-50? No way. Really? Woof. Does again rhyme with rain? No. Are people supposed to say ren or again? Again? Who says again? It's again. No. What? Nah, this is messing me up. This thing thinks I'm Irish. No, it doesn't, but there's too many things where Irish hasn't turned up at all. But apparently, well, how confident about 50? Which of these words, if any, would you use for a female partner? Wife, girlfriend, the other half. That's about it. Sure, Southern again. Figure and bigger, they rhyme. Cow does not sound like coo. As you call your short undergarments worn the lower half of the body. Just pants. Would you call a male son? That's a bin man. Oh, really? I'm surprised. While tea is being soaked, brewing. This is getting long. Didn't realise there were so many questions. 6th. Sandwich. H. Finger and singer. They rhyme. Apparently that's a very West Midlands, Northwest kind of thing to say, apparently. Finger and singer. Finger, singer. How can they not rhyme? I don't get it. Which of these words would you use for a general term of endearment? None of them. Partial darkness. I call it twilight, but that's purely because that's the scientific name for it. Before then, I didn't call it anything. I never thought of a word for that time. So I'm just going to put twilight. No one says it. Being drunk. I'm just going to put all the ones that I've heard people say because I've personally never used any of them. I've heard hammered. I've heard pissed. I've heard wasted. Fair enough. That's a ladybird. Oh. East Anglia's being weird on this one. Evening meal, that's tea. I'm surprised by this one. Everyone I knew called it tea. Well, to be fair, the colour is in the middle, so it's about 50-50, but surprised. If you were preparing a pot of tea, you say you were going to do, I was to say I'd brew it. Why? Why is this not... Everyone calls it brewing. What else would you call it? I'm not going to call it wetting. That's That's terrible. Hollow under the arm at the shoulder, that's the armpit. Yeah, everyone in England and Wales agrees. I threw the ball. Really? That's more divided than I thought it would be. To be honest, it's pretty common. It's just not super common anywhere. Which of these words would you use to add emphasis to something you are describing? Like very, but even more so. None of them. Narrow walkway between two buildings. That's an alley or an alleyway. Alley. That's it. Yeah, fair enough. Would you call a celebration held for a woman who's about to marry? That's a hen Jew. Fight. Like 5. Yep. England, Scotland doesn't agree. Slippers. Yeah, basically everyone agrees except for Scottish people. Again, it's always the Scottish people. Gate. Rhymes with late. Sweet stretchy treat. That is chewing gum. Really? Huh. Which of these words would you have to refer to people who are away from home and visiting your area? Those are tourists. Yeah, I thought so. Apparently in Cornwall and Devon, they don't agree with me. Oh, goodness, they don't agree? What would you call the water you get from the tap in your home? Tap water. What would you call circular traffic junction? A roundabout. Road and road sound the same. How can they sound different though? Road. Road. I don't know. I don't know how they can sound different. What would you say if you wanted to call for a pause in the game? I'd say... What did we used to say? We used to say time out. Yeah. I don't know, everyone in my primary school called it time out. We would go, time out, time out. Which of these words would you use for something excellent, amazing, fantastic, awesome, brilliant? I would never say splendid. Great. There we are. Okay. Metal frame set in the ground used to drain water from a road. That is a drain. That's what I've called it. Fair and fur, different. Feeling pleased. Happy. Moan and moan sound the same. Movement in gymnastics, that's a forward roll. Okay. What else would you call it? It's called a forward roll. That's what we always called it in primary school. Which of these words would you use for feeling hot? I would say boiling, warm, that's about it. Someone who's moody, grumpy. Pair and purr, different. Before winter, that's autumn. General words you'd use for sugary confections, sweets. Shell on its back, creatures, a snail. Door with a permanent car. I wouldn't use either of these words. The word nurse. Sounds like the vowel in term, it does. Happy, like Pete. Frozen snack, sweet flavoured ice in a clear tube. I feel like we had a specific name for this when I was a kid, but I don't remember it. It's been a while. So nowadays I would just call it an ice lolly, and that's it. So I'm going to put that. But ice lolly is very general. 3 doesn't sound like any of those. Doesn't sound like free, dree, or tree. It's 3. Not so none. Herb. Silent H. Okay. I think it goes like a little bit in. Sweet carbonated beverage. I would call that a fizzy drink. Few, that does sound like few. Two vowels in city, no. It and E, not the same. Would you be most? I won't do it. I'll not. I won't do it. Wine and wine sound the same. Money. There we go. It still thinks I'm sort of from Leeds, but this is my area in the end, which is about right. Thinks I'm from this kind of area around Gloucester, which is where I'm from. Bath, the same dialect area. Also possible that I'm from the West Midlands, specifically the west of the West Midlands. So I could be from Worcestershire? Worcestershire's here, right? And Herefordshire's here. No idea. Also think someone might be from St. Peter. Well, not really. Doesn't really think that. Can't tell if it gets darker here. So it kind of looks like it does, doesn't it? It's also quite dark there. I don't know what's there, to be fair. Yeah, looks like that's about it. Skyfing Offhorn was a very weird map. It seems very random. The others have clear trends. You know? Farm and Palm. Because I don't have a proper West Country accent at all. I have some features from it, don't get me wrong. But I would say West Country is the part of the continuum that I'm the least on. I'd say I'm mostly like... So then again, I call it a Chucky Big. That you can't get any more West Country than that. West Country. Whatever. I'm going to ride my tractor now and see you all in the next video. Goodbye. That was a really bad impression. Oh, goodbye.